Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiv Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Tiriyet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, Dhruv Maharaj leaves home for the forest. Text number 24. Maitreya Vacha Evam Sanjalpitam Matur Akaranyartha Gamam Vacha Sannimyatmanatmanam Nishchakram Pitu Purat. The great sage Maitreya continued, the instruction of Dhruv Maharaj's mother Suniti was actually meant for fulfilling his desired objective. Therefore, after deliberate consideration and with intelligence and fixed determination, he left his father's house. So 5-year-old boy, and that too, just imagine, this is not even Kali Yuga 5 years, he was in Satyuga. So Satyuga, when people used to live for 100,000 years, and he was only 5 years old. At that time, he left his house. And after deliberate consideration and with intelligence and fixed determination, he left his father's house. Both the mother and the son were lamenting Dhruv Maharaj's having been insulted by his stepmother and his father's not having taken any step on this issue. But mere lamentation is useless. One should find out the means to mitigate one's lamentation. Thus both mother and son decided to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, because that is the only solution to all material problems. It is indicated in this connection that Dhruv Maharaj left his father's capital city to go to a secluded place to search out the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is the instruction of Prahlad Maharaj also that if one is seeking peace of mind, he should free himself from all contamination of family life and take shelter of the Supreme Lord by going to the forest. To the Gaudiya Vaishnava, this forest is a forest of Vrinda or Vrindavan. If one takes shelter of Vrindavan, under Vrindavaneshwari, Srimati Radharani, certainly all the problems of his life are solved very easily. So Dhruv Maharaj left his house and went to the forest. And Prabhupada says, to the Gaudiya Vaishnava, this forest is certainly the forest of Vrindavan. But actually, Dhruv Maharaj also went to Vrindavan only. It is said that this palace of Maharaja Tanpad was near Kanpur, the place called Bittur. Bittur is where Gangaji is there. There's a bank of Gangaji. In fact, that place is very famous right now because of Mr. Vikas Dubey. So they were in that area, Kanpur or Bittur, where the kingdom was. And from there, Dhruv Maharaj walked all the way to Vrindavan. And specifically in Vrindavan, in Mathura, at the bank of Yamuna, there's a place called Madhuban. There are 12 forests in Vrindavan or Braj. So one forest is Madhuban. And in that Madhuban, not far from Vishram Ghat, which is the most popular ghat in Mathura, where Krishna Balram came and they took rest after killing Kansa and his team. And Vishram Ghat is a place where Lord Varahadev also established Mother Earth back in the orbit. And also, it's very famous, very, very auspicious place in Mathura. So not too far from there, there's a place called Madhuban, and there's a little hillock, not a hill, it's a little tila, it's called Dhruv Tila. So that is place where Dhruva Maharaj sat down and he did his tapasya. And he would go every day to Yamuna ji to take bath in Yamuna. And then he would come back to his place and do his tapasya. So these places are still there. Thruptila is there, Bittur is there, and the bank of Ganga is there where there's, of course, Bittur is also famous for other incidents as well. So from Bittur, Kanpur, he went to Vrindavan. Naradastad upakarnya gyatva tasya chikirshitam sprishtva murdhanya gane agdaganena panina praha vismitam. The great sage Narad overheard this news, and understanding all the activities of Dhruva Maharaj, he was struck with wonder. He approached Dhruva and touching the boy's head with his all virtuous hand, he spoke as follows. So seeing the determination of Dhruva Maharaj, see now Krishna is a Paramatma in everybody's heart. So first was Path Pradarshak Guru, which was Mother Suruchi. Second was Shiksha Guru, which was Suniti, Mother Suniti. And now Krishna arranged for Diksha Guru, Narad Muni. See, Krishna makes all the arrangement, depends on the determination of our heart. When Dhruva Maharaj was talking with his mother Suniti of all the incidents that had taken place in the palace, Narad was not present. Thus the question may be raised how Narad overheard all these topics. The answer is that Narad is Trikalagya. He is so powerful that he can understand the past, future and present of everyone's heart, just like the Super Soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, after understanding the strong determination of Dhruva Maharaj, Narad came to help him. So Narad is a spiritual master of the whole universe. Whenever he sees somebody really serious about bhakti, really serious to understand the Lord, really serious to attain the lotus feet of Lord, Narad Muni comes right away to help him. In whichever way he comes. It may be explained in this way. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in everyone's heart. And as soon as he understands that a living entity is serious about entering devotion service, he sends his representative. In this way, Narad was sent to Dhruva Maharaj. This is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Beach. By the grace of the spiritual master and Krishna, one can enter into devotional service. Because of Dhruva Maharaj's determination, Krishna, the Super Soul, immediately sent his representative Narad to initiate him. Initiate him and take him more further on the path of bhakti. Now Narad Muni has come and he has put his all auspicious hand on the head of Dhruva Maharaj. Because Dhruva Maharaj is a little boy, 5-year-old boy. And now Narad Muni is going to test him first. Aho teja kshatriyanam manam bhangam amrishyatam balo piyayam dhrita dhatte yatsa matur sadvachaha. How wonderful are the powerful kshatriyas. They cannot tolerate even a slight infringement upon their prestige. Just imagine, this boy is only a small child, yet harsh words from his stepmother proved unbearable to him. The qualifications of the Kshatriyas are described in Bhagavad Gita. 2 important qualifications are to have a sense of prestige and not to flee from battle. It appears that the Kshatriya blood within the body of Dhruva Maharaj was naturally very active. If the Brahminical Kshatriya Vaishya culture is maintained in a family, naturally the sons and grandsons inherit the spirit of the particular class. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, the sanskar of the reformatory system is maintained very rigidly. If one fails to observe the reformatory measures current in the family, one is immediately degraded to a lower standard of life. So this sanskar process, we have so many sanskars, just starting from Garbhadan sanskar all the way to Daha sanskar. There's so many other sanskar. 10 major sanskars are there, but there are so many others. So they should be performed for these three, Brahman, Kshatriya and Vaishya. And then, as Prabhupada said, naturally the sons and grandsons inherit the spirit of the particular class. Of course, they still will be according to the guna and karma they do, but the spirit will be there. And it's very important to perform these sanskaras. Narad uvacha, nadhu napya vamanam te sammanam vapi putraka lakshyama kumarasya saktasya kridanadishu. The great sage Narad told Dhruva, my dear boy, you are only a little boy whose attachment is to sports and other frivolities. Why are you so affected by words insulting your honor? So this is the testing going on. Ordinarily, if a child is rebuked as a rascal or fool, he smiles and does not take such insulting words very seriously. Similarly, words of honor are offered, he does not appreciate them. But in case of Dhruva Maharaj, the Kshatriya spirit was so strong that he could not tolerate a slight insult from his stepmother which injured his Kshatriya prestige. So he really took it seriously, that's what they say. He could not tolerate a slight insult from his stepmother. Vikalpe vidyamane api nahiya santosha hetva ponso moho mrite bhinna yelloke nich karma bhi. My dear Dhruva, if you feel that your sense of honor has been insulted, you still have no cause for dissatisfaction. This kind of dissatisfaction is another feature of the illusory energy. Every living entity is controlled by his previous actions, and therefore there are different varieties of life for enjoying or suffering. Of course, whatever Narad Muni is saying is not wrong. He is saying that whatever the scriptures say. But the case of Dhruva Maharaj is different. Kshatriya boy, little boy, but Kshatriya, and he got really insulted. He felt insulted. His honor was completely injured by his stepmother. In the Vedas, it is said that the living entity is always uncontaminated and unaffected by material association. The living entity gets different types of material bodies because of his previous fruitive actions. If, however, one understands the philosophy that as a living spirit soul, he has an affinity for neither suffering nor enjoyment, then he is considered to be a liberated person. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Brahm Bhuta Prasanna. When one is actually situated on the transcendental platform, he has nothing for which to lament and nothing for which to anchor. Narad Rishi first of all wanted to impress upon Dhruva Maharaj that he was only a child. He should not have been affected by the words of insult or honor. And if he were so developed as to understand honor and insult, then this understanding should have been applied in his own life. He should have known that honor and dishonor are both destined only by one's previous actions. Therefore, one should not be sorry or happy under any circumstances. So previous verse, Narad Muni said, oh, you're a little boy. What's honor and insult for little boys? People come, mother, especially mother, father, they come, they play with the little boys and playing, they'll say, you're a fool, you're a rascal. That doesn't mean they mean that. It's just, they're saying out of love. But Dhruva Maharaj was just fixed up. No. So now Narad Muni said something else. Okay, now you think you can understand honor and insult, but then if you are mature enough, then you should understand honor and insult are because of our previous actions from previous lives. So nothing to be so roughed up about. And this is what Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita. uh, that sukh and dukh, honor and dishonor, you should tolerate it. Tolerate it equipoised. Then you're ready for liberation. But Dhruv Maharaj is so fixed up and so angry even right now. He just doesn't listen to Narad Muni. Paritushyet tatastat tavan matrena purusha devopasaditam yavad vikshirishwar gatim buddha. The process of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very wonderful. One who is intelligent should accept that process and be satisfied with whatever comes, favorable or unfavorable, by his supreme will. The great sage Narad instructed Dhruv Maharaj that one should be satisfied in all circumstances. Everyone who is intelligent should know that because of our concept of bodily existence, we are subjected to suffering and enjoyment. One who is in the transcendental position beyond the concept of bodily life is considered to be intelligent. One who is a devotee especially accepts all reverses as gifts of the Supreme Lord. When a devotee is put into distress, he accepts this as God's mercy and offers him repeated obeisances with his body, mind, and intellect. An intelligent person, therefore, should be always satisfied, depending on the mercy of the Lord. So, yes, from spiritual perspective, this is the right instruction that one should be intelligent and accept the process and be satisfied with whatever comes, favorable or unfavorable. And then Prabhupada, he didn't quote the words, but he is writing the translation that whenever a devotee is put into distress, he accepts this as God's mercy and offers him repeated obeisances with his body, mind, and intellect. He said, "This is my karma. That's why I'm getting this honor or dishonor. But still, I would still do my service to the Lord." And then that is the person is eligible for liberation. But here the case is something else. Dhruv Maharaj is not asking for liberation. He's not even thinking about liberation. Atmatropadishtena yogena vururutsasi yat prasadam savai punsam duraradhyo mato mama. Now you have decided to undertake the mystic process of meditation under the instruction of your mother, just to achieve the mercy of the Lord. But in my opinion, such austerities are not possible for an ordinary man. It is very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Narad Muni is going to test him is testing him every way possible. Okay, so far he didn't move, he was still moving towards Vrindavan. Okay, now Narad Muni, okay, you have taken up the process, you want to take up this process of meditation. He's saying it's not very easy, it's very difficult process. You're still a little boy, go back home. The process of Bhakti Yoga is simultaneously very difficult and very easy to perform. Shri Narad Muni, the Supreme Spiritual Master, is testing Dhruv Maharaj to see how determined he is to prosecute devotion service. This is the process of accepting a disciple. The great sage Narad has come to Dhruva under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just to initiate him. Yet he is testing Dhruva's determination to execute the process. It's a fact, however, that for a sincere person, devotion service is very easy. But for one who is not determined and sincere, this process is very, very difficult. But for a sincere person, when he's performing devotion service, and then he gets the mercy of the Guru, mercy of Vaishnavas, mercy of Krishna, and then he can perform better. But if one is not sincere, if one is in the process of devotion service with some ulterior motives, with maybe a motive of bhukti or enjoyment or mukti, then the process becomes difficult, because then he wouldn't have that kind of taste for chanting and hearing. And then he won't be able to really get all the benefits of bhakti, of performing devotional service. Munya padvim yasya nishrango nor janmibhi na vidur mrigyantu api tivra yoga samadhina. Narad Muni continued. After trying this process for many, many births and remaining unattached to material contamination, placing themselves continually in trance and executing many types of austerities, many mystic yogis were unable to find the end of the path of God realization. So he's trying to tell Dhruv Maharaj that it's not easy just to, you think you can go to the forest and meditate and you can see the Supreme Lord. Still, even after doing so many austerities and continually practicing trance, many mystic yogis were unable to find the end of the path of God realization. Ato nivartatameshu nirbandhastva nishvala yatishyati bhavan kale shreyasam samupastite. For this reason, my dear boy, you should not endeavor for this. It will not be successful. It is better that you go home. When you're grown up, by the mercy of the Lord, you will get a chance for these mystic performances. At that time, you may execute this function. Generally, a thoroughly trained person takes to spiritual perfection at the end of his life. According to the Vedic system, therefore, life is divided into 4 stages. In the beginning, one becomes a brahmachari, a student who studies Vedic knowledge under the authoritative guidance of a spiritual master. He then becomes a householder and executes household duties according to the Vedic process. Then the householder becomes a vanaprastha, and then gradually, when he is mature, he renounces household life and vanaprastha life also, and takes to sannyas, completely devoting himself to devotional service. So generally, this is the process, that one takes to brahmachari life, then the householder life, then the vanaprastha, and then the sannyas. And in sannyas life, he is completely devotes himself to devotional service. But not that one at the time of sannyas he can devote himself, if the training is not there from the very beginning. So that is why when brahmachari used to go to Gurukul to study under a bona fide teacher, the teachings of the education would be for both spiritual knowledge and the material knowledge. And depending upon the qualities of the student, the guru would decide whether this boy would be a Brahman or a Vaishya or Kshatriya or Shudra. Then it would be in Guru's decision. And he would not decide based on if somebody is paying him more money and then, okay, you want to be Brahman, or okay, I'll give you a recommendation of being a Brahman. Those gurus were not these Kalyugi gurus. They were real Brahmins who would not, who would only beg or subsist on begging, not keeping big begging balance, and somehow, or maintaining themselves. So if a rich student comes and his father has given lots of donation, okay, I'll make you a Brahman. No. Whatever the qualification, guna of that student, the guru would recognize that and then train him accordingly. Generally, people think that childhood is meant for enjoying life by engaging oneself in sports and play. Youth is meant for enjoying the company of young girls. And when one becomes old at the time of death, then he may try to execute devotional service or a mystic yoga process. But this conclusion is not for devotees who are actually serious. The great sage Narad is instructing Dhruv Maharaj just to test him. Actually, the direct order is that from any point of life, one should begin rendering devotional service. But it is the duty of the spiritual master to test the disciple to see how seriously he desires to execute devotional service. Then he may be initiated. So initiated means initiation means then he starts the process. This is what initiation means. Now we are on the process, on the path, we're starting the process. Initiation doesn't mean end, that we have reached the culmination of devotional service. Now I am initiated, now I can relax. So far I had to go through so much of chanting and reading and the classes and the services. Now I got initiated, no, it's no problem at all. No. Initiation means the beginning. Now the beginning starts. It's just like when we, in India, when we go take admission in medical college or engineering college, and before the admission, there is an entrance exam, and then we prepare for the entrance exam. Then we get the admission. So this training before the initiation is like preparing for the entrance exam. And once we get initiated, means we got the entrance. And then there will be classes, then there will be tests, unit tests, and whatever, semester exams. And then we graduate from first year to second year to third, fourth, like that. So this is the entrance exam going on for Dhruv Maharaj. Yasya yad deva vihitam satyena sukh dukhe atmanam toshayam dehi tamasa param rikshati. One should try to keep himself satisfied in any condition of life, whether distress or happiness, which is offered by the Supreme Will. A person who endures in this way is able to cross over the darkness of nescience very easily. Material existence consists of pious and impious fruitive activities. As long as one is engaged in any kind of activity other than devotional service, it will result in the happiness and distress of this material world. When we enjoy life in so-called material happiness, it is to be understood that we are diminishing the resultant actions of our pious activities. And when we are put into suffering, it is to be understood that we are diminishing the resultant actions of our impious activities. Instead of being attached to the circumstantial happiness and distress resulting from pious and impious activities, if we want to get out of the clutches of this nescience, then whatever position we are put in by the will of the Lord, we should accept. Thus, if we simply surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we shall get out of the clutches of this material existence. So this is for a devotee to think this way. If we simply surrender in any situation, whether we are enjoying or whether we are suffering. For a devotee, actually, there is no such thing as suffering. That's why Prabhupada says circumstantial happiness and distress. So it's all based on circumstances. And circumstances affect a person depending upon the person's level of consciousness. For example, I mean, if somebody is physically, if you just look at physically, somebody is a physically very strong person, bodybuilder, daily goes to the gym and works out for 3, 4, 5 hours every day, and his body is strong as like a rock. And if somebody comes and he hits that person, or somebody very thin, haggard, or some just ordinary person and hits that person who's building the body and muscles, he won't even feel anything. But if the same person who hit him, he hits somebody like us who hardly have any strength, then we would be really hurt. So the person who is hitting is the same, with the same force he is hitting. But the person who has developed muscles, he can absorb that hit, and then nothing will happen to him. So now we take the same example to our spiritual muscles. So if we have developed spiritual muscles, then no matter, I mean, now it depends upon how much muscles we have developed. So if some suffering comes, then spiritual muscles are developed. We'll not even be bothered by that suffering. But an ordinary man would be lamenting, would be crying, and would be cursing the Lord, in fact. Why did you do that to me? But a devotee never does that. He tolerates. He absorbs the shock. And more advanced a person, of course, if he's more advanced, then from our perspective, he will undergo a more rigorous, a more serious test. Just like if we are in first grade, our exams are going to be very simple and easy. But if we are in graduate or postgraduate, then the exams are really tough. But one who is prepared, he can take care of these exams. So that preparation is our sadhana bhakti and how much we are surrendered. So that is why we have to prepare. We have to prepare for the exams. We have to perform our sadhana bhakti very, very, very nicely, very thoroughly, with lots of determination and sincerity. Just like if we see the example of like Dhruv Maharaj, okay, we can say he was insulted, a little boy insulted by his mother. Not only he thinks he is insulted, but he could have taken it the other way. But the kind of austerities he will perform, it's amazing. But also, if you want to look at the example of Pandavas, what is it that they didn't have? Great birth in a royal family. Their own bodies were great, strength-wise, intellectual-wise, wonderful, wonderful, and devotional-wise. Krishna was personally their friend, personally taking care of them. But still, how much they had to go through. Duryodhana tried to kill them so many times, even from the childhood. There was a plan to kill them, to burn them alive in Varnava, and then they had to leave that place and run away through the tunnel and live like Brahmins. They were begging. For a Kshatriya, begging is not a worthy kind of living. Kshatriyas don't beg. But they had to live like that. And then again, they were given the kingdom of Indraprastha, but it was taken away in the game of dice. They were all insulted heavily in that game of dice along with Draupadi Maharani. Again forest, again 1 year of incognito, then 1 year of incognito was, we can't even imagine the terrible situations they had to go through. I mean, if Bhim had to live like a cook for 1 year, Arjun had to live like a eunuch, the greatest warrior. Still, they didn't know whether they're going to get back the kingdom or not. Still, they were trying to come to a peace solution. without fighting, just peace. And it was 5 villages Krishna asked on their behalf. Even, of course, it didn't show in the Mahabharata serial, but in Mahabharata it is written. He said, okay, not even 5 villages, just give them 5 houses to live in, 5 palaces to live in. That's it. They will not fight with you. I give you a promise. So much they had to go through. So the suffering will be there. The tests will always be there. Every step, every moment of the day, the test will be there. But those who have their spiritual muscles developed, they get over the test very easily. But now this test or the spiritual muscles, whatever we have developed, they remain with us. That's the beauty of bhakti. Okay, we might not pass with flying colors in this life, but okay, we start again next life. Start all over. I mean, from the place where we left. Next life, or maybe in this life also, we start again. That's the mercy of Krishna. Only thing is we have to just surrender. We have to, no matter what happens, we just stick on to our process of bhakti. Do not ever give it up. Never, ever, ever give it up. Try to make more and more progress. And then Krishna recognizes, Guru Parampara recognizes, devotees recognize, and then the mercy will flow. The mercy will not flow whether we are eating hari chutney or red chutney or this or that nonsense. Mercy will flow if you're sticking to the process. No matter what happens, stick to the process that Prabhupada has given us. And then mercy will definitely flow. Definitely. The test will be there, but mercy will always flow. Gunadikan mudam lipse danu krosham gunadhama matrim samanadan vichena tapar abhibhuyate. Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, very great instruction by Narad Muni to Dhruv Maharaj right now. This is for all of us. Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate towards him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. In this way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of this material world. So the threefold miseries are Adidevik, Adibhautik, Adhyatmik, Klesha. So one is never affected by it's not that the threefold miseries will go away. He will not get affected. By what? By taking a humble position. Actually, this all means a humble position. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, then he should be very pleased that now I get a chance to learn more from this person. By seeing his behavior, by his knowledge, spiritual knowledge, by his intelligence, by his acumen, I get to learn more. So he should be very happy. When he meets someone less qualified, so instead of exploiting that person, one should be compassionate towards that person and try to give him the knowledge, the mercy, the association, just like Narad Muni is doing. Narad Muni does to everybody. Whenever he meets somebody, of course, nobody is more qualified than him in this material world. So he's always compassionate towards them and tries to bring them on the path of bhakti. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. Not that try to pull his legs into some politics and backstabbing. No, should make friendship because together we can make progress faster. Now, Prabhupada says, generally when we find someone more qualified than ourselves, we become envious of him. When we find someone less qualified, we deride him. And when we find someone equal, we become very proud of our activities. So we want to talk about how great I am and how intelligent I am. In fact, if we notice, whenever now, since everybody is sitting at home, it's not too much association is there, maybe on Zoom or phone. But when we meet devotees, if they are of the equal level, then isn't it generally we just talk about how good I am? Oh, I did this better way and I did this and achieved that. Like kind of boasting around. It happens so often because we all spend so much time in the association of karmis. In that association, it's always like how good I am and how bad the others are. Whenever we are talking, we're trying to prove how intelligent. I did this project on my own and I found this mistake of my boss and I found this mistake of my colleague and he doesn't know anything and she doesn't know anything and how intelligent I am and then this, that, blah, 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 goes on and on and on. And same mentality we bring to a devotee association also. I can cook this better and I can chant. I get up this time and I chant and I do this better and do that better. Of course, if this we are trying to do to not impress others, but to motivate others, to inspire others, it's great. It depends with what consciousness we are trying to say these things. But rather, we should take a humble position and try to serve others. And this is what Prabhupada says, when we find someone equal, we become very proud of our activities. These are the causes of all material tribulations. The great sage Narad therefore advised that a devotee should act perfectly. Instead of being envious of a more qualified man, one should be jolly to receive him. Instead of being oppressive to a less qualified man, one should be compassionate towards him to raise him to the proper standard. And when one meets an equal, instead of being proud of one's own activities before him, one should treat him as a friend. One should also have compassion for the people in general who are suffering due to forgetfulness of Krishna. These important functions will make one happy within this material world. So this is the sutra of becoming happy. So this thing, wonderful instruction by Narad Muni Tirumala, that we should adopt in our practical lives. So then the result of the threefold miseries will not take place on us. We will not be affected. So we'll stop here because from next verse, Dhruv Maharaj will start speaking. So we'll hear him tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, regarding this story, I'll give one update. While I was talking to my mother about this story, discussing about this, I usually talk to her about this Bhagavatam things and if I can learn something from her and all those things. So I have told that when Suruchi used the harsh word for Dhruva, Dhruva came back to her mother Suniti and told all the things. Suniti didn't react. I mean, Suniti was not angry on this thing. Why is it so? That was my question. I think Archana Mataji also asked this that if we are like common people are there, we'll start fighting for this own cause. That why he or she told about my kid and all. So she told me that because Suruchi was very dear to Uttanpad, and that's the very reason Suniti has left the palace, and she stayed in a hut near to the sages and all. She was very, uh, in the company of sages and always in the bhakti devotional services and all. That's the very reason she taught good things to Dhruva Maharaj, and it was
Oh,
just because of that. She has a lot of what do you call that, calmness in her and devotional service. That's why. This is what she told me yesterday about it.
that's great. Great. Great to hear that. So any other question or comment?
Prabhuji, last shloka was really nice, beautiful, very heart-touching.
Yeah, it's great instructions.
Very, very, very nice, and really need to follow.
Yep. Even if we follow it in our material circles also, as well as spiritual, it's definitely helpful.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Even in office condition, when we are seeing somebody is making a mistake, instead of making fun of him, we should be compassionate, help him.
Yes, Prabhuji.
But we either make fun of him or try to talk bad about him behind his back to other colleagues or to the boss, which is not a good attitude.
Generally, we like to advertise, actually,
Yep.
because in offices also, I've gone through now.
Oh yeah.
It gets so popular. Oh God.
I know, I understand. We will get whatever we will get by our own karma. We'll not get even a single penny more than that. So why create such negativity in the office?
प्रभु जी कॉलेजेस में भी यही सिखाया जा रहा है आजकल ये जो मैनेजमेंट है ना मैनेजमेंट कॉलेजेस खुले हुए हैं एमबीए कराते हैं दे ऑल टीचर्स ऑल बैड थिंग्स अच्छा ये हो जाए तो ये करो ये हो जाए तो ऐसे करो दे आर टीचिंग एब्सोल्युटली रिवर्स जो भी कुछ आज हम पढ़ रहे हैं ना जितने भी ये स्टूडेंट मैनेजमेंट के निकल रहे हैं ना कॉर्पोरेट में जो जा रहे हैं दे आर ऑल मतलब इनको तो ऐसे गेयर अप करके भेज रहे हैं कि आप जाओ और सब उल्टे पुल्टे काम करो
Yep, that's what they teach.
सीरियसली दे आर लिटरली मतलब हम लोग तो सोचते हैं कि हम सीधा सिखाएं वो बोलते हैं ये आप उल्टा सिखा रहे हो ऐसे नहीं ऐसे होता है
वो कहते हैं ना कट थ्रोट कंपटीशन है ऑफिस में और you cannot survive if you are not this that. Our survival is based on Krishna's mercy. This nobody will teach. Anyway, so we'll stop here. You all have a wonderful and safe day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Jai Srila